Okay, so I was Miranda's second assistant, but her first assistant recently got promoted, and so now I'm the first.
Oh, and you're replacing yourself.
Well, I am trying. Miranda sacked the last two girls after only a few weeks. We need to find someone who can survive here. Do you understand?
Yeah, of course. Who's Miranda?
Oh, my God. I will pretend you did not just ask me that. She's the editor-in-chief of Runway, not to mention a legend.
Okay, we're off now. Let's go.
Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. This is Wait, You Haven't Seen? It's a show where we talk about movies, and specifically, we talk about a movie at least one of us has never seen before. I'm your host, Travis, a.k.a. TV's Travis. This is episode number 366, and our movie this week from 2006 is Ddevil Wears Prada. And here to talk with me about it because one of them had seen it, one of them had not, and they wanted to talk about it. From the Horse Girls podcast, it is Tim and Alex. How are you?
Yeah, you have to go. You have to tell them how you are first, Alex.
How I am first?
Yeah.
I went with our classic Horse Girls, yeah, whenever Tim asks us how we are. Good, because I saw this movie, which I enjoy immensely. How are you,
Excellent.
Tim?
I am great also because I saw this movie and I also enjoyed it immensely, which surprised me.
I thought it might.
So I think that lets slip who had and had not seen it for the most part. So, Tim, I'm going to start with you in your knowledge and or history of The Ddevil Wears Prada prior to watching it for the first time for this show.
Okay, so I did not see this movie, and I also made the mistake of confusing a couple of Anne Hathaway properties on our podcast.
Okay.
And that's what kind of started this whole conversation. I talked about the Princess Diaries and I thought it was The Ddevil Wears Prada, and Alex corrected me and mugged me for not having seen this movie.
I see. Okay, so you had not seen it. Were you, and you kind of familiar, but obviously conflating it with other Anne Hathaway films.
Yeah, I knew
Okay.
Meryl Streep was supposed to be mean. That was what I knew about it.
Yeah, that's about the extent of my knowledge of this movie. I knew it came out. I remember it coming out. I remember seeing a lot of stuff about it. What's crazy is it was almost 20 years ago now that this movie came out. And I like Anne Hathaway. I think I remember seeing the first Princess Diaries, but not the sequel. And Meryl Streep is a legend. I knew about this movie. I had no desire to see it in 2006. It was not in my wheelhouse at the time, and I always knew of it, but I never sought it out. And then I heard later on that, Stanley Tucci was in it, and he's amazing, and that made me want to see it, but then I just sort of forgot about it. So I never got around to seeing it. But Alex, you came to me with this. In fact, I believe the text messages were, hey, do you have any open dates coming up soon to watch The Ddevil Wears Prada? And I said, well, I have April the 12th. And you're like, it's not open anymore. So what's your history with The Ddevil Wears Prada? Did you see this when it came out?
I did not see it in theaters, but I saw it relatively close to when it came out. And it's a movie that I've seen multiple times over the years. And it always stunned me how much I enjoyed this movie, because I think I felt kind of similarly to you when it came out. I'm like, I have no interest in seeing a movie about fashion. That's not my bag. I don't love that.
Sure.
But I got to watch it because it was just on a lot, I think. And then I realized just how good of a movie it was and how it's very much not just about fashion. And I've seen it probably 10 times over the years. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it is one of those where I was kind of the same way, where it's like, I don't care about a movie about the fashion industry. That doesn't interest me. And it's not that. It is, but it isn't. It uses that as a device to tell a story, but it tells a very interesting story. And the cast in this is really, the cast all the way through is quite incredible. It's anchored by four people. The four pillars of this movie are Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci. and they carry it immensely. Like, so I want to start with Meryl Streep because she is a legend in terms of acting, but she is so good in this. If I had a complaint, it is that there isn't enough story based around Miranda. That we get little breadcrumbs, little bits of some really interesting stuff that the movie doesn't explore. That is both to the movie's credit and detriment. I want more of that, if that makes sense.
So you want to know about the time that Miranda was in the Hunger Games, like how she got to be where she is now.
Right. Obviously, that's how she got to the top of the empire. Right. Was through the Hunger Games.
I have to assume so.
But just Miranda is such an interesting character because the way Meryl Streep plays her is perfect. She is this alpha, top of the heap. Everyone is afraid of her. Like, it is respect through fear, but she never raises her voice. She's and I read in some of the trivia that she based that around how Clint Eastwood is when he's directing on set. And I can see that. Like Clint Eastwood, I've heard stories about him. I think one of my favorites was Matt Damon when he was doing Invictus, was it? I think that Eastwood directed. Mm-hmm. And he did a take, and Eastwood was like, cut, check the gate. And he goes, "What? Check, do you want to do another one?" And Eastwood kind of leans in. He leaned into me and was just like, "Do you want to waste everyone's time?" And he goes, "No, never mind. We're good. Cut it. It's fine. We'll move on." And like the way Miranda is in this movie is that she is quiet but menacing, and you do not mess with her. And I love that. And Meryl Streep plays it perfectly.
The thing that got me about Meryl Streep's performance that I did not expect, like I just expected like mean person, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. When she starts explaining the impact that she has on the fashion industry, and when Stanley Tucci does the same thing, like they honestly believe in what they're doing and why it's important, and it just mm-hmm. makes the characters feel so well-rounded, and I just wasn't expecting that. And I know that's probably it reflects poorly on me, but like I just didn't expect it,
Well, and all of the marketing for the movie sets it up that she is just this horrible shrew and nobody mm-hmm. likes her and she's just superficial. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, like that. And then the one scene later on in the movie where she has no makeup on and mm-hmm. she's upset because we get the reveal, oh, she's getting a divorce. Another one. And she doesn't care what people say about her, but she's worried for her twin daughters and how that's going to reflect on them, how it's going to reflect their view of her. She cares about what they think, but not anybody else. But that's kind of what I mean. Like, that's the stuff that I almost wish the movie had explored. Mm-hmm. That and the ideas behind why she does what she does in the fashion industry more, because it's fascinating. Especially as someone who in 2006 was very much Nate in this movie, where I didn't care about fashion or accessories or aesthetic. Like, I was very utilitarian in everything that I did because it just made sense to me. Like, oh, I need to wear clothes. Cool. I'll wear clothes that are comfortable, but I don't really care beyond that. And I have come to be, I wouldn't say I'm into fashion necessarily, but I fall a lot more in line with the other, because there's the friends, Nate, the boyfriend, and then Lily and Doug. And I love Doug. He's another character that I wish was in the movie more, because he's phenomenal.
Agreed.
But I've come to be closer to someone like Doug, who understands why things like accessories and look and aesthetic are important and can be important to a lot of people, because there is that self-expression part of it that's really cool. And as somebody who has over time cultivated a very distinct look, I understand that. So I appreciate this movie so much more watching it now than I would have 20 years ago.
100% agree with that.
But I love, and Tim, you mentioned it, but it's Nigel and Miranda really caring about what they're doing in this world that is incredibly superficial and surface level, but they understand there is something else to it. You just have to get there.
Mhm.
And I kind of like that because it does make them feel more three-dimensional of characters. It gives Miranda something, because she is the antagonist of the movie, but also kind of not. There isn't a traditional protagonist-antagonist relationship here, which I also was not really expecting. I was expecting a lot more of kind of Anne Hathaway's character butting heads with Miranda. And it really isn't that. It's more of her journey. Miranda is just part of that journey. I really enjoyed that.
Can I tell you the other thing that I was expecting and never got?
Yes. Please.
Emily Blunt. I just expected her to feed terrible information and wrong information the whole time. Like when she's telling her to go into the house and where to leave the stuff and all this stuff. I was like, all of this is wrong. All of this is wrong. And like, none of it was. I kept waiting for that turn.
I was too, in a lot of ways, because that's what you're set up for watching movies, right? As an audience, I'm waiting for that heel turn from Emily, who is a fantastic character because she is looking out for herself, right? She is trying to advance her career, and she is not coddling Andy, but she's also doesn't sabotage Andy.
Right.
And I think that is a nice change of pace from a lot of movies that I've seen, because it's very easy, and that is the lazy way, I think, to go, to make them at odds in a way that is difficult. And here they're at odds, but it's more of just they're both trying to move up the ladder, but neither one of them is actually the type of person to kick the ladder out from the other one. They'll crawl over.
Well, I would even argue that on occasion, there's a little bit where the Emily Blunt's character will help out Anne Hathaway, because it's like she's not helping in the traditional sense, but there's times where she's like, hey, those shoes, that's going to be a problem. Then she walks in she's like, no, they're not. She knows what I look like. She walks in, the shoes are like, she even kind of feeds her a little bit of like, here's the biggest pain point here. And it's just whether or not it's delivered condescendingly and whether or not she, Andy listens.
Right. Well, because I think part of that is that Emily has gotten to a point where she understands that if the second assistant isn't good, that it's just she's going to have to train another one. She's going to have to keep doing this. And she doesn't want to do that anymore. She wants somebody that is good but not great. So she's going to help along to a point, but also at the same time not overdo that. And I enjoyed that because it made their dynamic much more interesting to me. And it gave some weight to then when the roles get reversed and Andy has started moving up the ladder more and getting the attention. And then we see Emily is the one out with the bags and collecting stuff. And then she gets hit by the car because she hasn't had to do that for a while. So she's out of practice. And then the whole scene in the hospital room. I really enjoyed that quite a bit.
There was something about her just eating that bread roll going like, I don't even eat carbs, or you eat carbs, or like whatever the line was as she's consuming that bread roll was just priceless.
It's because the scene before that, when they go to the gala and here's Emily, she's dealing with this cold, which one of my notes was like, don't go to work sick. Don't do that, people. I don't care what the job is. Don't do that. But they go to the gala and this is Emily, like, the armor is cracking for her. She is not on her game because she is ill. And but like there's the moment where Andy tells her, you look so thin, and it's the response of like, do I really? And it's there's the combination of she's happy to hear that and also a strain in her voice, like the hell that she has been putting herself through to get to go on this trip. And just the pressure release she had when she gets hit by the car and breaks her leg, where she's like, I don't care anymore. She's ripping the pudding cup open and just like eating pudding and shoving bread in her mouth because it doesn't matter now. So obviously there's two sides to that coin. I love that, but I also hate it at the same time, which this movie did really well. This movie did a great job of both glamorizing the fashion industry and also pointing out the flaws in it. But nothing ever felt heavy-handed.
No. It was every time that they pointed out Anne Hathaway's weight in this movie that I'm like, monsters, all of you.
That broke
Oh, yeah.
the movie like fourth wall more than anything else I've ever seen. I'm like, how dare you like look at Anne Hathaway like the 6 is the new 14? I'm like, are you kidding me? Look at her. Are you serious?
I have clips I will play later, and one of them there's probably a few that are going to be along that line. Trust me. And Anne Hathaway in this movie is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
She is so good. It is the Hollywood trope of, oh, here's this absolutely gorgeous human being, but no, they're mousy and frumpy and whatever. You can't make this tries, but it's Anne Hathaway. How do you make her? And she's already done that before too. We've seen that in the Princess Diaries. So there's that. But it was like, what was the one? She's All That, I think, with Rachel Lee Cook and Freddie Prinze Jr. Like, you can't make Rachel Lee Cook look frumpy. You just can't. They tried, but it didn't work. And yeah, trying to do that with Anne Hathaway, I'm like, nope, all I see is gorgeous Anne Hathaway. But she is wonderful because she is this genuinely good person, and you're seeing that slowly erode away in an actually believable manner. And that is to the movie's credit and the story's credit, where it happens in a way, it's not this demonstrable change. She doesn't do a full 180. She doesn't become a different person. She's the same person all the way through, but actually has an arc, which is incredible.
It's more like it slips out from underneath her than it's her heading down a path, you know?
Yeah, instead of her changing wholesale, it is these little differences that friends notice, but she doesn't. It's kind of like, I mean, it's exactly how changes happen to people, which is you don't notice them when they're gradual changes that happen day over day because you see yourself all the time.
Oh man, and one of my favorite parts of that was the catalyst of the speech that she gets from Stanley Tucci, where she's like, I'm working so hard, I'm doing my best. And like, arguably she's trying, but he goes, no, you're not. And it's because he's like giving her that speech of, you don't actually care about what you're doing. You're trying hard, but it's not about the right things and it's not in the right manner. And that kind of like sets her on the trajectory. And that speech is incredible.
Yeah.
And I still like afterwards, I'm sitting here trying to like analyze, was that a good thing or a bad thing? And I don't know. Like, I don't know if it was a positive or a negative. And it was just such an interesting point.
It's both, and that's what makes it feel real. And that's the wonderful thing about it, because it is exactly what she needed to hear at that moment, because in her mind, she is doing everything she can. And he's sitting back saying, yeah, it feels like that, but really you're not, because you don't really want to be here. You don't really want this job. The tagline of the movie, meet Andy Sachs. 1 million girls would kill to have her job. She's not one of them, which is perfect. Like, she has this job. There's, I think, 3 or 4 different times in the movie where somebody says, 1 million girls would kill to have that job. And it doesn't matter to her to have that job. She just wants a job. She wants, at the beginning of the movie, she's just trying to break into something. And when Nigel tells her that, it's perfect. And Nigel is hands down my favorite thing in this movie. Stanley Tucci. First of all, Stanley Tucci is a goddamn treasure in everything he's ever in. But this is such, and I've heard this before. I've heard how good he is in this and how much fun. It was beyond the expectations for me. I had so much fun with his character throughout this movie. And then I read that he said this is the character he's played that's the closest to his real personality, which I also love.
I was furious. I'm not going to get too far ahead. I know I do that all the time on our regular podcast, but I was furious at the end of this movie because of him. Oh yeah. No, it's there's always a character in one of these movies that gets the rug pulled out from under them. And usually it's our main protagonist, right? In a lot of movies, it's Andy that is up for something and then it gets yanked out from underneath her. And they did that in this movie, but not with her. They did it with Nigel. And it's more heartbreaking, I think, when it's him because unlike the tropey way to do it is, the new person and they build up this thing and then they get it taken away from him. He's been doing this, like the scene where he's talking about, it's been 18 years of my life and I finally get to call my own shots. And just
that elation that he has. And then it gets taken away from him and he sees it coming and all he can do is grin through it.
Yep.
It's so heartbreaking,
Mm-hmm.
but also so real. And Stanley Tucci just plays it to perfection.
Mm-hmm.
He's just great throughout. I literally could have captured just every single moment he was in the movie as an audio clip, and I kind of did. Like the majority of my clips are Stanley Tucci because Nigel is amazing. But he's that Jiminy Cricket character where she can go to him, and it's fun to watch their relationship evolve because you've got Andy and Emily's relationship evolves over time, and they get to be, I would say, reluctantly respectful of each other. They're not friends at the end of the movie, but also like Andy calling her up and being like, I got all these clothes and I don't need them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think maybe you'd want them? And like, I love that because Emily's reaction to it is you can see on her face, yes, I want all of this, but she's got to play it. She's got to play the part. Love that. But that relationship goes that direction. And then Andy and Nigel is great because he starts off like he's snarky with her, but he's never mean about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to see her do well. And they grow to be close and actually like care for each other. And I love that a lot because it's such a wholesome relationship between the two of them. And again, Stanley Tucci, just so much fun throughout. I love when she finds him at the photo shoot in like Central Park or whatever towards the end of the movie. And he is just having a ball. Because by this point, I think he knows. No, this is before they go to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But there's kind of like a lightness to him in that moment, and you sort of know he knows what's coming, or he thinks he knows what's coming, and so it's helped him a lot. But like, I also love Nigel and Miranda's relationship because he is the one that is always the rock for Miranda, which does make what happens to him even that much more heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that moment was horrific. Like, and it was also the buildup too, where like it almost felt like you didn't know who to root for because Andy telling Miranda like, they're coming for you, and like they're gonna get your job, you're gonna be replaced, and then she's just celebrated with Nigel, all of that, and you think like, oh God, it's coming to a head, and then it falls through in the worst way. Like, honestly, the twists and turns that it took was so much more advanced than it felt like this movie had any right to do.
It really did. If anything, my major complaint and why I would say, like, I like this movie. I'll say that. I liked this movie. I like this movie a lot. I would watch this movie again. Hands down, no question. It sort of, a lot of the user score ratings that I see for it are in that 7.5 range out of 10. And that's right about where it feels like to me. It's very good. That is a very good score. I think what could have pushed that over the edge and gotten it a little bit higher is developing some of the characters a little bit more. It's sort of a double-edged sword. We need the first hour of this movie to build the relationships and build the characters so that the last act of it hits home. But also, some of that last act gets a little bit rushed, in my opinion, because we focus so much on Miranda, Andy, Emily, and Nigel, and rightfully so, but they keep sprinkling in Simon Baker's character, Christian, a couple of times, but not enough for me to care. So when he has his heel turn, I was like, oh, that's terrible, but also, okay. I don't really care that much because she has a boyfriend already. And we had to manufacture a way for the boyfriend to be out of the picture so that she can get with him to then just immediately find out that he's terrible.
Well, I kept waiting for a worse, harder, faster heel turn than what we got.
Yes.
Like every time that he did something like with the Harry Potter manuscript and whatnot, I kept waiting for this like, okay, now you owe me kind of thing to happen, but like in the worst kind of ways. Because
he was very pushy. Anyway. Yeah. So he was a little, he kept like showing up at just the right moment and trying to like manipulate things into his favor. And over the course of the movie, I kept noticing that more and more. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little icky. I don't wanna,
Yeah, I hated him
like
from
that.
second one. I'm like, ugh, this guy's a creep.
He is, but then it's also Simon Baker, and he's so charismatic, right? You get somebody like a Simon Baker to play this character because you want to not like him, but also kind of like him.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to be charmed by him, but then not like him. And he's perfect at doing that. So there's that. There's also like, I mentioned Nate, Lily, and Doug, and that's another relationship. The Andy Nate relationship is another one that I feel like could have just been its own movie. Is them. And Nate is, I don't like him, but I also, the movie doesn't spend enough time with him and their relationship for me to really fall on either side, to love him or hate him.
Oh, I fell on one side, but I do agree with you. Yeah, I didn't like him. I never saw any moments where I was like, he's good.
He's just kind of a guy that's shitty to his girlfriend. He's just mid.
Just a
the
lot
whole
of
time.
bad.
It's like he made a grilled cheese one time. That was kind of good. Everything else kind of sucked about him.
And I think that's part of kind of where I'm coming from with it, in is that he's not good in the context of the movie, but the movie doesn't spend enough time with him.
Right. Why
for
would
you
she
to,
want to
like-
be around him? Yeah.
Yeah, like I just don't care because we don't spend enough time with them. They're together at the beginning of the movie, so they're already in an established relationship. She's working hard, he's working in a kitchen, but they have to manufacture a reason for them to take a break, which anytime that's said, well, I think maybe we should take a break. It's like, well, this is over. But
the one that
you
got
got
me
to
was
drive.
the birthday.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, she had to work on your birthday. She had to work on your birthday. She had to grow up.
Welcome to adult
Yeah,
relationships.
I'm sorry you missed out on your Chuck E. Cheese because
But at
I
the same
kind of
time, I liked that conversation because he says to her when she's like, I'm sorry I missed your birthday. He's like, what am I for? Like, you missed my birthday. No big deal. But the movie wanted us to see from his perspective, her changes.
Yeah.
The problem is we didn't spend enough time with the two of them together for that to land the way that they wanted it to. Because what they're going for is like he is seeing the changes in her and he doesn't like it because he's seeing her become a different person and she doesn't see that. So
I'm sorry. I'm
it's
worked
just
up
the
about
way
Nate.
No, I get it because it's the way he says, like, I don't care if you're out there pole dancing as long as you have the self-respect to do it. And like that is, I like that from him because he doesn't care what she's doing as long as she still has her integrity. And what his worry is that she's losing that integrity based on what she's doing with the job. But at the same time, he's also acting like a petulant child.
Well, that was
and
it.
he's getting all pissy with her.
He said the what am I for? And I'm like, well, you sure acted like it like a minute ago, and now you're trying to make it look like you're not doing that, which made the whole thing feel worse to me.
Kind of the same thing with Lily, her friend. We don't spend enough time with Lily, so when Lily sees her with Christian for 2 seconds, like the differences in that scene between when she saw her and then when she sees her again, it's like night and day. They didn't earn that. They didn't earn that moment with Lily. And we didn't spend enough time with Lily to know that was the time we learned that they'd known each other for whatever it was, 16 years or something like that.
I was over Nate and Lily when they started playing with the phone.
Yeah, that's
and I'm like,
stressed
this is
me
her
out.
job. Stop doing that. Like I'm
like that.
all for making fun of your friends. Don't do it like this. This is
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
that's-
ribbing your friends and then there's doing what they did there.
Yeah.
And I didn't love that. Doug, however, Doug was cool. I like
Yeah, I like Doug.
That's all of this. This conversation is just making me think, like, I wonder if this would have worked out more successfully if they had have taken out the entire Nate relationship and just focused on Lily and Doug's relationship with her and let that build to be like the changes over time. Because I also thought that like Doug and Lily were both more like charismatic, like memorable characters, and Nate's kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
So like, It's making me wonder if that could have fixed a lot of the problems and shown what they wanted to show better.
Absolutely. My note to myself after watching this was like, it just needed some trimming and some streamlining. And that's the type of thing. When you're taking a novel and you adapt it to a film, there are always changes that get made. And there are, from what I understand, a number of changes. I haven't read the novel, so I don't know. But that's the kind of thing. Like, you've got these 3 characters. You can combine them down to 2. You can take the boyfriend relationship and transfer that onto Lily and Doug and still get the same effect. Because Nigel in the book is apparently a very minor character, but they beefed him up in the movie. And that's good. The movie is better for that. But because of that, I think it takes away from stuff with Nate. So, like, restructure some of those things a little bit. Because Miranda, Emily, and Nigel are her new, and Nate, Lily, and Doug are her established, her old. And there's just not enough movie for all of that to go on. Plus, like, I love the scenes with her dad.
Yes.
But there's just not enough of them. By the way, here's my brain doing its thing again. The second he came on screen, I knew him from something. I knew him distinctly from something. Are you ready for this?
What could it possibly be?
Do you want to take a guess what it could possibly be?
Yes.
I've never seen that man before in my life.
Okay, the actor's name is David Marshall Grant. Okay. Here's what I will tell you. The movie that I immediately knew him from is from 1995. 94, 95. Mid-90s action movie. That's all I'll say. And his role, very, very minor. Only on screen for a minute. Any guesses?
All of those hints ruled out all of my guesses.
It has to be... What year did The Rock come out? Is it The Rock? The Rock might have been 95.
Shit. You got it. You nailed it, Tim. It was The Rock.
What on earth was he in The Rock?
Outstanding. He was in The Rock. He played a character that was part of like the government's, he was like the Secretary of Defense or something like that. He's like a minor role, but he has a moment with Ed Harris's character where he's like, well, we never admitted we were in Grenada or something like that. And Ed Harris like dresses him down over the phone, like basically tells him, shut up, the adults are talking. And I just remember him from that so much. So the second he popped up, I was doing the Leo DiCaprio meme. I was pointing at the screen like, I know him. It was amazing. There's another one later. When we get to the, I'm going to hold off because there's another one of those that's even more obscure because my brain is a strange place. But I don't want to go there yet.
See, with this one, I immediately went to the Project Hail Mary. Like, where do we know that that astronaut from? And it was like, oh, the U.S. Cellular commercial or the T-Mobile commercial. That was going to be my guess. I was like, it's some weird PC commercial or something.
Are you talking about Milena Vaintrub?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The AT&T commercials.
Yeah. AT&T. That's what it was.
No, like there's so many great just moments in this movie. I captured boatload of audio. I got to play some of these because there's so many good clips. And that's the thing, right? This is it's a comedy drama, so the dialogue, it's very dialogue heavy. There's going to be a lot of clippable moments in that. I'm saving Nigel. Nigel will come later. We're going to start with Miranda. Meryl Streep is so good in this, and like our introduction to her. I mean, you want to talk about the introduction shot? It's that elevator opening up. And her just sitting there staring forward and then walking forward. And Emily immediately starts talking to her. And it's this stream of consciousness out of Miranda. And what I like is we get that. And then immediately she starts doing the same thing to Andy the first time she talks to her. And Andy's like, by the fourth or fifth thing, Andy still hasn't figured out the first thing she said. And I love that. But I loved this particular line.
I asked for clean, athletic, smiling. She said me dirty, tired, and paunchy.
Paunchy, first of all, is a wonderful word. But I just love, and it's like 45 seconds straight of her just talking, and Emily doesn't say a word and is just absorbing it all, and I loved it. And this is after we get the introduction of Andy and Emily, where Emily's like pre-screening her in a way, which I loved. The HR must have a twisted sense of humor, sending you to me. But yeah, like just Meryl Streep all the way through. This too. This is again exactly who Miranda is.
Human Resources sent her up about the new assistant job, and I was sort of pre-interviewing her for you, but she's hopeless and totally
Well,
wrong. So.
clearly I'm going to have to do that myself because the last 2 you sent me were completely inadequate, so send her in. That's all.
That's all. Which now lives forever.
That's all.
I have that. So dismissive. Perfect. That is so much more cutting than yelling at somebody. It's just dismissively, that's all. You can leave now. Oh, loved it. Oh, and this was, I think this started it, right? Because when she walks in, there was something with her, like an appointment or something from that morning. So the first word she says to Emily.
No, I'm so sorry, Miranda. I actually did
The
confirm
tales
last
of
night.
your incompetence do not interest me.
The tales of your incompetence do not interest me.
And I love that because we found out just before that it was she was getting a facial and the person doing it ruptured a disc. So
Yeah.
like completely not like out of her control to the
Yes.
max.
But it doesn't matter to Miranda. Like to Miranda, everything is supposed to happen exactly. Like her world is perfect, and everybody is so afraid to disturb that. And it's, I just, what an introduction to a character. It is such a perfect introduction to a character. Because you're right, I completely forgot it was the ruptured disc. When she first talks to Andy. And Andy comes in and she's got her resume and she like puts her resume down on the desk. And then Miranda just starts to like list off all the things wrong with her. I put in big quotes. But then she says like, you have no sense of fashion. And I love the response.
I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
Like, I'm just going to stop you right there. Wasn't a question. Go away. Everything, every interaction with Miranda is phenomenal and also makes you feel like you're about 3 feet tall. Like you're just this tiny little person around her because she just has this like reality distortion field, right? I have to imagine that's what it was like being around somebody like Steve Jobs when he was alive.
Yeah.
You know, that type of aura. What is the term? Aura farming? Like, Miranda has an aura about her that you cannot deny, but you also have no way of matching. None whatsoever.
I'll tell you.
And Meryl Streep is perfect for her.
It's not an audio clip, but there was one thing that really stood out to me. And it was when she's looking at one of the presentations or whatever. And based on her mild reactions, they knew what they had to do. And if they got the pursed lips, it means just tear it down and start over.
That was so good.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Like a single nod is good.
Yeah.
Double nod is excellent. And she purses her lips and it's like, well, wait.
Burn it all
What does
down.
purse her lips mean? Just start over.
Yeah.
By the way, some other names that were considered. I love these in IMDb trivia. I love other names considered, right? Because like in the 80s, it's every action movie. It was Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger, whatever. But some of these names actually make sense. I'm curious what you think of these. For the role of Miranda, Jennifer Aniston.
No.
Too young.
Yeah, not in
No.
2006.
Doesn't-
Not enough power. Doesn't
Yeah.
have that. Not enough aura farming from her.
You're right. Kim Basinger. Maybe.
Maybe.
I could maybe see that.
Maybe.
I think a slightly older Kim Basinger would have worked
Yeah.
than 2006. I think she's still on the cusp there. Because that's part of what makes Meryl Streep work is the fact that she is middle-aged at this point. Still absolutely gorgeous and still has it, but is, the white hair, right? That look works. Cameron Diaz doesn't do anything for me here at all.
No.
She's too bubbly. Same with Heather Graham, I think also, especially in 06, still too bubbly.
Heather
Angelina
Graham is a
Jolie-
wild choice to me.
Yeah. I mean, this feels like casting director just throwing the net out there, right? Angelina Jolie doesn't really work for me either. She can be dark, but it's not the right kind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she can be sharp, but it's not the type of sharp that you need here. Lisa Kudrow, not at all.
No.
I don't
No,
see that.
no.
But it's also really hard to divorce Lisa Kudrow from Phoebe on Friends, which is, maybe unfortunate. But I can't see her playing this particular role.
No, I feel like she has that habit of going like for powerful, like loud, shrill. And like it was so much more powerful, the quiet dismissal that like I feel like Lisa Kudrow would not.
It's the same reason why I don't think Julia Roberts would have worked. Because she needs to be louder. I don't think the quiet, seething anger would work with Julia Roberts. Now, 2 on this list that did, it's kind of the same thing I thought with, I saw Naomi Watts on the list. And I love Naomi Watts, but I don't know that she has that, not in 06, maybe a little bit later. But the 2 names that I thought could have done it, and I wouldn't replace Meryl Streep at all, but Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
I could see Michelle Pfeiffer doing it. And the other one, and this was the one, if you couldn't get Meryl Streep, Helen Mirren.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Helen Mirren would absolutely terrify me in the role of Miranda Priestley. Absolutely terrify me, because Helen Mirren is also a legend. So that was the one from that list that got me, was her.
I don't think you can look at that list and not know that they got the right person, though.
Oh, no, the 100% did.
Yeah.
Like, without question. I also loved Meryl Streep. Apparently, on the first day of filming, told Anne Hathaway, "I think you're perfect for the role. I'm so happy we're going to be working together." And then she paused, and then she said, "And that's the last nice thing I'm going to say to you." And I really hope that's true, because that is amazing. And I got a couple more Meryl Streep lines. I love, again, it's Miranda's world is not the same world as everyone else. So when she's stuck in Miami, coming back from something, and there's a hurricane going on, and here's Andy trying to find her a flight home while she's having dinner with her dad. It's like the one weekend she was going to get free because Miranda's out of town, and now she's scrambling to find her a flight, and it's this.
Please, it's just, I don't know, drizzling. Someone must be.
It's a hurricane outside. The visual effects of the hurricane were a little weak, but that's not the kind of movie we're doing, so I can give it a pass. But I just love, it's just drizzling out. And meanwhile, category 3 hurricane outside the window. Just amazing.
I love the juxtaposing that with Andy talking to her dad at dinner, and he's like, "What are you gonna do? Call in the Marines to helicopter her out?" And she goes, "Can we do that?"
Oh, it was so good. Okay, here's a little bit of that. Hey, we're gonna tell a story, and Anne Hathaway is not the gorgeous person that Anne Hathaway is, and you get a line like this.
Take a chance. Hire the smart fat girl.
All right, look, I can use a lot of words to describe Anne Hathaway.
It's bonkers.
Fat, not anywhere on that list.
No, it's bonkers.
Not even close. Just, and then you get, oh man, is there a worse thing you can say to someone?
I will be very disappointed.
Very disappointed. Boy, that's that unlocks trauma right there.
Yep. I'm not mad.
Because
I'm not upset.
Not mad, just
disappointed.
But I also love when the scene where Andy comes into the hotel room in Paris and here's Miranda, no makeup. The one time we see her without makeup and her guard down, and you can tell how upset she is. But then she's got to put on the strong face. So it's, hey, get me the guest list for whatever luncheon we're doing the next day. And it's taking, 5 seconds for her to find it in the bag because she has to set the bag down, open the bag, and pull the folder out from there. And you just get...
By all means, move at a glacial pace. You know how that thrills me.
Also, glacial is such a great adjective to use for slow. It's so much better than just slow.
I think I've said that line to like Austin finding podcast files. Like, well, I think I've said that to people before, and I hope they know it's from this movie.
I just had to put this in because it was too funny.
We need to move Snoop Dogg to my table.
It's pretty great. It's just the nonchalant way she says it. And that there again is one of those things where that gives you an idea of what she thinks of the world around her, where it's just casually saying, we need to move Snoop Dogg to my table. And then the last two of Miranda was in the car with Andy. This is after we get the whole thing with Nigel and James, and Andy was trying to warn her that they're going to force her out and all this kind of stuff. And she looks at Andy and she says,
I see a great deal of myself in you.
And it's meant to be a compliment. And she sincerely means it as a compliment to Andy. And Andy's look, Anne Hathaway's look in that moment is just chef's kiss of acting without saying a word, because there is the barest hint of like, oh really? Oh, that's not good. And you just see her face fall. It was perfect. And then she pushes back and you get probably the quote of the movie from Miranda.
Everybody wants to be us.
Everybody wants to be us, which I guess the original line was everybody wants to be me. And according to the trivia, Meryl Streep changed that to everyone wants to be us, because she felt like it read better that way and was less like self-indulgent, which honestly works for Miranda, because Miranda is very much about herself, but there is a humanity to her. It's just buried under so many layers of makeup that you got to chisel away to get to it. So I liked that.
Can I tell you my favorite Miranda? I was waiting to see if it was going to be one of the ones that you picked, but it was one where she refers when Emily Blunt comes down with the cold or whatever. I don't remember the exact line, and I wish I had written it down.
Oh, yes.
Where she mentions that she's become an incubus of disease or something like that.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's the funniest line I've heard this year to me. Like, that cracked me up so much.
It was very good. It was very good. And they did such a good job with Emily there, where, her nose is red. She's wiping her nose a bunch, and poor thing. Like, again, I get it. When you're a personal assistant, like, you're not supposed to ever have time off, but man, don't go to work when you're sick. Don't do that. I got a few Emilys, because Emily Blunt, who I didn't know was in this movie, and I adore her. She's phenomenal. And it was her choice. In the book, the character of Miranda in the book is English, and Emily is American, and that got swapped here. And I think that works. I think, honestly, it adds a layer to Emily to have her with that accent, because it makes it another barrier and layer for Andy to have to break through, because it sort of makes Emily more snooty, which was really good. And I just loved, like, again, there's that fear that Miranda projects to everyone. So you get...
I'd ask her, but never ask Miranda anything, right?
You never ask Miranda anything.
Which comes back so beautifully, though, with when she's talking to Stanley Tucci, and he goes, well, did she say why? And she goes, oh, yes, I asked her. And then we talked, she told me her whole plan.
I love, and he's like, all right, fine.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, point taken.
Which is what makes Nigel great, because he both is that snarky person and gets when, like, it's not the right thing. It was wonderful. But I also loved...
Run-throughs are a huge deal. I don't know why you don't know that, Andrew.
The run-throughs are a huge... And it's great because Emily both wants to make sure that the second assistant is great, but not too great. And her method of training someone is just she's the dad teaching the kid to swim by just throwing them in the lake. Here you go. Figure it out. Rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine. That's her method. So it's like, I don't get why you don't understand that this is important. Probably because you never mentioned a run-through. Just a guess. So I loved it. I also if you've listened to the show, you know that I like weird noises and laughs. Those are things I like to capture. There was a couple of them. This one from Emily Blunt. That's a really good laugh. That's a really good one. And I think that's her and Giselle Bundchen laughing at Andy. Which I liked having Giselle in this movie, but not playing a model of any kind. Not herself or not a different model. She's just like somebody else in the office. Was nice. So that is it. Star in the chat says it's a very British laugh. It is a very British laugh. One more time, just because. It's very good. She had a lot of great responses. When Miranda has Andy, it's basically giving her the impossible task because she's trying to. It's that moment of you're either going to do this thing or you're going to quit. I'm not going to fire you, but I'm going to put you in a position where you have to quit. And when Andy runs off with,
I will be back in 15 minutes. Wish me luck.
No, shan't.
That's like one of the famous lines.
so good. And such a wonderful immediate reaction from the character. Because she's got to find, she has, 3 hours to find the unpublished manuscript of Harry Potter and 15 minutes to get a steak. That was the thing. It took me out of the movie for a second because I'm like, there is physically no way she can get that steak. Will still be mooing if she gets it in the next 15 minutes. But then you had, and then I think this was before it, but I just liked, and then here again, red flags for this job.
I get 20 minutes for lunch and you get 15. When I come back, you can go.
Okay.
No, thank you. 15 minutes isn't enough time to get to the cafeteria of the building, let alone actually eat anything. And I understand nobody in the fashion industry eats, but which is why you get this response later. And I mentioned this one already.
You look so thin.
Do I?
That do I, there's so much in there in those two words. Yeah. She is ecstatic and hurt and pained by the fact that she hasn't been eating, but also like there's a relief in her voice, like the hell she's been putting her through is working. And then you get immediately, she starts talking about the diet she's on, which, look, don't do diets like this, okay?
Well, I'm on this new diet. It's very effective. Well, I don't eat anything. And then when I feel like I'm about to faint, I eat a cube of cheese.
That little laugh there feels like it was naturally, like that was the first try at the line and she just couldn't get it out without laughing and they left it in because it's perfect. A cube of cheese. Yes. You also get,
I love my job. I love my job. I love my job.
because again, Emily's got an arc going on. She is wearing down. The job of being Miranda's assistant is getting to her. And it was wonderful. It's just wonderful to see like character work. For the character itself is terrible. But it's so well done. Also, this one I had to capture for reasons.
If that happens, I will search every Blimpies in the tri-state area until I track you down.
Because I used to get sub sandwiches from Blimpies. So I knew that reference right away. I don't know if either of you are familiar with the sub chain Blimpies.
I think
I know of it. It never had it.
Oh yeah, I had it. I think we were trying to figure out if it was still in existence anywhere.
I don't know. I think there are still some of them out there. It was like, I mean, it's on the level of a Subway. Maybe a touch better, maybe not, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard that. I was like, oh, I know that one. And then the hospital scene after she gets hit by the car, which I'll be honest, I didn't see that turn coming.
No, that one got me.
Because I was with you, Tim. I kept waiting for like the full on heel turn of Emily.
Right.
And instead we get her gets hit by the car And now she becomes that much more of a sympathetic character, which works in the arc that they're doing. We should have seen that coming, right? Because she's wearing down. We get the I love my job, all this stuff. And, everything is flipping for her. And my brain is like, well, yeah, now she's gonna do something terrible to Andy. Nope. Instead, she gets hit by the car, and then she's in the hospital, and it's like,
You eat carbs, for Christ's sake.
just shoving bread in her mouth, and she calls her out too with,
Face it, Andy. You sold your soul the day you put on that first pair of Jimmy Choos. I saw it.
again, perfect for this movie. It is not just you sold your soul. It's the day you first put on and then got to name the designer, the first Jimmy Choos, which I only know. I don't know how I know that that's a designer, but I do.
Yeah, it's the famous red soles. It's the big the
on.
scene though where she gets the
Famous red soles?
yeah
Do Jimmy
the bottom
Choos
of the
have
shoes are red. Yeah,
Were they in the
It's
movie
like a big-
too?
I think so.
Oh.
I think so. I couldn't tell you a pair of.
No,
those
I didn't know
shoes.
that was a thing.
That's like I barely know it, but like that's the hallmark of that designer is that the bottom of the shoe is always that like bright fashion red. And
okay.
so like whenever you see somebody with that, they've spent like thousands on their shoes because of Jimmy Choos. But the scene where she gets hit by a car, I don't think I appreciated it until this watch. The fact that they don't show like a CGI or special effects or her actually getting hit by the car, they just show this like expensive scarves raining down from where she's thrown the packages.
Yep.
Is so brilliant.
Yeah. No, it's a great way to do it because I think had they gone more visceral in the car getting hit, it would have felt out of place in this movie.
I also liked it as a story beat. Like we talked about how this one, it didn't fall into the same tropes of them like going back and forth. I like it as a story beat to make Andy the obvious choice to go to Paris as opposed to there being like a battle between the two of them.
Right.
And I think it fit the story better. She still has to tell her that she's going and they still, she's still mad about it, but I just like the beat better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A couple lines from Andy because Anne Hathaway is amazing in this. But first thing,
I am not skinny or glamorous.
the hell you're not.
Wrong.
The hell you are not. 100 like that. I get it. I get what they're going for, but it just no. There is the moment again. This is earlier in the relationship with Nate when she first shows up after her little makeover. And he like walks right past her because he doesn't even recognize her. But I loved.
Well, I happen to think you look great always.
Aww, I think you're full of it.
Calling him out for that. And you got a little. Because he is.
Because he is.
And that's a good giggle from her. That was real good. There's the Emily Blunt very British laugh, and this is the very like aw shucks giggle. So this was really good. Just a great delivery.
Shit.
Because that moment in the house, oh man, with that, I loved it because it was, yeah, you put it in the closet and then put the book on the table with the flowers. And then she's looking and there's 3 closets and 3 tables with flowers. And it's like, oh no. Oh, what have I gotten into? Was wonderful. She made a few weird noises like that. There was that one, just the way she says shit, but also. And I can't help but notice these things. It's just what
Minecraft
happens.
villager.
It really is. Yes. Walking into the village, and you hear that. This was okay. Again, with the Christian character and the relationship there, this feels like a moment that should have happened earlier in the movie instead of in the last 20 minutes, where they actually sit down in Paris and they're having drinks or whatever it is. And here's Christian. He's been subtly bad-mouthing Miranda the whole movie. And I say subtly in that he's not like demonstrative about it, but he's also like, she's terrible. She's hard to work for, all this kind of stuff. And I liked this moment from Andy because she says,
Okay, she's tough, but if Miranda were a man, no one would notice anything about her except how great she is at her job.
and that's the kind of thing, like, it's 100% true. And it's also one of those things that I kind of wish we could have explored more because there's a lot of that going on. And it was very subtly, like it was very sparsely put through the movie. It was Christian, and then it was whoever the head of the publishing company. Like the couple of moments we saw him where you get that feeling. But then the flip side of that is Nigel, who understands she's difficult to work with, but not so difficult that he can't work with her. And he respects her. So
It's back to the Hunger Games and how she got her position.
that's very true.
You need that story.
Okay, so another moment that this kind of reminds me of, that's one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. I feel like you get so much detail with nothing when they're sitting down. It's the makeup off scene. She's telling her Andy about the divorce, and Andy goes, "Is there anything I can do?" And she just goes, "Your job," and like snaps back to it.
Yep.
One of my favorite lines in this movie, and that feels a lot like that too, where like there's all these like little serious pushback moments. Like, I love it.
That's masterful acting and character work there, because that is exactly who Miranda is to a T. I also, again, you can see the Christian heel turn coming, but it felt too quick. Like we needed more time with, and here again, to your point, Alex, don't have Nate in the movie, don't have her have an established relationship. Therefore, they can build the relationship with Christian, and then he turns heel, and we actually care, because this should hit harder than it does.
Baby, it's done.
I'm not your baby.
I got the icks when he said that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I was like, where's the hand sanitizer? I'm not I don't love this. But that should hit so much harder than it does.
Yeah.
Already, because we just didn't spend enough. It's two scenes or a scene earlier, they're fine and everything's good, and then we get that. So I mentioned Doug, so I'm saving Nigel. I got a lot of Nigel. I'm saving him, but I got a few other clips I got to play first. I mentioned Doug, and I just like this. This was the type of thing where, again, if I saw this movie in 2006, 2007, around when it came out, I wouldn't have connected to something like this the way that I do now.
An accessory is merely a piece of iconography used to express individual identity.
And it's pretty.
That too.
All of that. Like, I resonate so much more with the whole thought process of like the accessory being some sort of self-expression, but also sometimes you just want something pretty. and it was great.
The way that they attacked how people view it from every angle with the different characters, and thinking mostly about that green belt. When Anne Hathaway's like, "That's the same belt," and Tim is watching the movie, is like, "That's the same belt." But
also in that same scene, again, the Lily character gushing over that bag that she gets. And you get her, she's gushing over it. And I think Nate says something like, "Why do women have so many bags?" And she just responds with,
Shut up.
Shut up. Just let me have this. She also had a good laugh. And I liked that quite a bit. This was just too funny not to put in.
I drank it at James's last party. I woke up in Hoboken wearing nothing but a poncho and a cowboy hat.
Look, don't take drinks from strangers, all right? That's just, you end up in Hoboken in a poncho and a cowboy hat. It's bad. It's not good. Okay. So I teased this earlier, but my brain, I am a deeply disturbed individual. The end of the movie, all right? Andy's in the, the New York Mirror. She's about to have an interview, right? Because I did like the moment where she comes back from Paris and her and Nate sit down, and there is a reconciliation, but it's not like we're just going to get back together. She's like, she's happy for him getting the gig in Boston. Maybe something happens with them. Maybe it doesn't. Not really important to the movie. And then she says, yeah, I've got a job interview. And she goes to her job interview. This line is wonderful.
I called over there for a reference. Left word with some snooty girl. Next thing you know, I got a fax from Miranda Priestley herself, saying that of all the assistants she's ever had, you were by far her biggest disappointment. And if I don't hire you, I am an idiot.
So first off, wonderful line, and it's so indicative of the Miranda character, and that's what I'm talking about where I say there's that humanity buried underneath all of the hairspray and makeup that Miranda has, and I love that. But that actor playing the editor is John Rothman. I immediately recognized him from a movie from 1984.
1984, Travis?
1984. So 22 years before he made this movie, he was in a movie for all of 30 seconds. And yet I recognized him immediately. Are you ready to know what movie that was?
Yes, please.
I'm desperate.
He was in Ghostbusters.
No.
He was in the beginning of Ghostbusters when they're interviewing the librarian. He is the library administrator.
Is that the same guy, really?
He is the same guy, and he says when Venkman is asking the questions to her, and he says, "What's that got to do with anything?" It's that guy.
I'm a doctor, or I'm a scientist.
Yeah, back off, man. I'm a scientist. That's the dude.
I can't believe that, Travis. That's almost upsetting.
It's not something I'm proud of, but at the same time, it's kind of my superpower, and so. Yeah, here we are.
Why aren't you like an amazing police detective lineup identifier? Like, why aren't they hiring you to find criminals?
I don't know. I am available. So if you need that, I'm available. But yeah, it's just literally, I'm like, holy crap, it's a dude from Ghostbusters. I did that to a friend of mine. I've told this story many, many times. I did it to a friend of mine when the trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming came out. So whatever that was, 2016?
Yeah, something
like that. And I'm watching it at work. And there's a 2-second clip or 2-second shot in the trailer of the character Shocker from the movie played by Bokeem Woodbine. And I literally said, "Oh, Bokeem Woodbine's in that movie. That's cool." And my coworker stops, pauses the video and looks at me and is like, "The hell? How did you know who that was or that name?" I'm like, "You don't forget a name like Bokeem Woodbine." Also, in The Rock. So, everything comes full circle. All right, Nigel, Stanley Tucci. Strap in, people. We got some Stanley Tucci to talk about because, my goodness, there are actors that steal scenes. There are characters that steal scenes. This man stole the damn movie. Like, just everything he's in is amazing. And I also read that he was one of the last people cast in this movie, which is mind-boggling to me because he just is Nigel to a T. It's so perfect. Like, the first thing he says.
"All right, everyone, gird your loins."
Is not a phrase used enough. Gird your loins. And then when Andy is doing her whole interview thing and she's talking to Miranda and he just walks right past her with the book and starts talking to Miranda like Andy's not even there, which is perfect, but it's what he says too.
But the problem is with that huge feathered headdress that she's wearing, she looks like she's working the main stage of the Golden Nugget.
Even better by the fact that I have stayed in Las Vegas across the street from the Golden Nugget. Like, I've walked past the Golden Nugget so many times. And he's just, I love that. And then for Andy to immediately leave, and I just like, because he doesn't know her yet.
Who is that sad little person? Are we doing a before and after piece I don't know about?
He's so dismissive of her. Which is what makes their relationship so much better. Like, it builds from that. But, like, who is that sad little person? That's,
That might be the meanest thing you can say, calling somebody the before picture. Like, that's hurtful. That's just hurtful stuff.
And he not only does that, he calls her the before picture and a sad little person. Those are like two amazing insults.
In the same breath. And then the next time we see him is in the lunch line. And
Corn chowder.
I've never wanted corn chowder less. And I love corn
did,
chowder.
and it was 2 seconds later when he said, that's full of cellulite, which I don't even know if that's true, but I didn't want it.
I mean, it's not, but I love this exchange too. Like, again, these are those moments in the movie that they're meant to be satirical. It's meant to get the kind of reaction that it got from me, and it worked perfectly.
So none of the girls here eat anything?
Not since 2 became the new 4 and 0 became the new 2.
Well, I'm a 6.
Which is the new 14.
Because I know what they're going for, and it worked, damn it. Yeah. But also, again, Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway is not frumpy,
the entire
she's not
movie
fat.
is this big.
Yeah.
The entire movie, so tiny.
Apparently, she actually did lose weight while making the movie. Which
bonkers.
From where is what I'm trying to figure out. Like,
where's it going?
So I love that. I also love when he just shows up, like the next day she's at work and he shows up and just...
I guessed an 8.5.
With the shoes. He's just got a pair of shoes for her. And then you see her wearing like the sensible flats and she's just like, I don't need those.
Miranda hired me. She knows what I look like.
Do you?
Oh, he's so catty and I love it. Yeah. He is such a catty bitch. It's perfect. When he tells her about it's not the run through. Maybe it is the run through.
Come on. Miranda's pushed the run through up a half an hour. Mm-hmm. And she's always 15 minutes early.
Which means?
You're already late.
That's at lunch. Yeah, you're already late. Oh boy. Oh,
After he takes her bowl and throws it in the garbage for her.
You don't even have time to eat the thing that I'm telling you not to eat. But I love even little things like...
Because you live your life in it. Well, not you, obviously, but some people.
Is there a nicer way to insult someone than the way Stanley Tucci is able to do it? I don't know that there is. When she sees one of the dresses that he's holding or some clothing or something.
Oh yeah, a little Crisco and some fishing line, and we're in business.
He's just he's utterly pitch perfect throughout the movie. My favorite one though is definitely,
darling, shall we? We have to get to the beauty department, and God knows how long that's going to take.
He also had, I mentioned the photo shoot. The photo shoot is great. I wish we had more time there. Because he's like, what is it? The urban jungle?
Urban jungle, yeah.
But.
Yes, the modern woman unleashes the animal within to take on the big city. Good, go.
Good, go. So now I have forever. Just that. But then you get that moment with him in Paris of...
For the first time in 18 years, I'm going to be able to call the shots in my own life. Oh, my God.
It's so... I was so happy for him in that moment. Mm-hmm. Like, the characters that earned... Our 4 main characters earned everything they get throughout this movie. And he earns that moment so well. So then... I also...
You bet your size 6 ass.
Like, that's another one of those. I feel like that was the first take. And you couldn't get through it, and they just left it in. But you get this moment, and he's so happy. And then the next time we see him, it's just been taken away, and all the wind comes out of his sails. And all he can do is...
When the time is right, she'll pay me back.
You sure about that?
No. But I hope for the best. I have to.
so heartbreaking because he knows it's not going to happen. He knows it, but he can't do anything else.
And we knew that Miranda, like, obviously to get into that position, she had to just be stacking up bodies. But for it to be Nigel, I don't know. It got me.
Yeah. And the fact that they let us sit with him while he was like about to stand up and accept. Like we had the hope right up until that moment. Ugh.
Yeah. It's such a well executed bait and switch. And it hits so much harder because of that. That's the kind of hard hit that I wanted out of the moment with Andy and Christian where she tells him off. It didn't have that because we spent so much time with Nigel. We got to like him. We got to understand him and see like him being the only one that Miranda listened to in the meetings and had good ideas. And he's getting this chance and Miranda knows about it. I loved when he reveals that to Andy and her immediate response is like, oh my God, did you tell Miranda? Like Miranda's going to flay you alive. And he's like, no, she knows. It was her idea. Like, it's so wonderful to just then get that gut punch was terrible. And I also, these are funnier, but I loved.
And that's my problem because, oh, wait, no.
Catty. So catty. Also.
Excuse me. Can we adjust the attitude?
I'm sorry.
Don't make me feed you to one of the models.
Don't make me feed you to one of the models. Is so. I want a whole movie of just Nigel.
Yeah.
Just him. It's great.
I just need a Nigel telling me all the time to adjust my attitude because I could use that.
Yes, I absolutely could. I just need a Stanley Tucci around me at all times. So there is a sequel coming for this movie. I am of two minds on that because there's a lot about this movie I would love to see explored more or see where these characters are 20 years later. You know, is Nigel, did he ever finally break free of the cycle of disappointment or not? Where is Andy? Because she's not in the fashion industry anymore at the end of this movie. Because the way this movie ends on a nice note, right? It's uplifting without being schmaltzy. And all of the characters are kind of where they need to be, right? Miranda is still on top and still in power, but we get that little bit of humanity out of her. And Andy is now getting to do the thing she really wants to do. And it's not as glamorous and she's not going to make as much money doing it, but it's where she should be. And Nate is off cooking in Boston. And Nigel's the one who's not where he should be, but he's also where he needs to be. And Emily is there. So I love how everything is neatly wrapped up and I don't feel like this movie needs a sequel. So part of me is kind of the cynical part of me is like, oh, they're doing a sequel because they know it's going to make money. Because this was a $35 million budget on this film in 2006 and it made north of $325 million. So it was a big hit. It was very profitable. Surprising it took them 20 years to decide to make a sequel to it. But I don't know that it needs it. However, I'm also kind of now curious as to where that goes. So, Tim, I'll start with you. Are you excited or looking forward to seeing the sequel?
So yes and no. I am absolutely such a victim of. Then it started with Top Gun Maverick, right? Like they make these fan servicey movies.
As all stories do. It starts with Top Gun Maverick.
It goes all the way back to Top Gun Maverick. So like it's a movie that we all loved when we were kids and they decide they're going to try and capitalize on it. But they end up making this, it's purely fan service, like the entire thing top to bottom. But it's all the fan service that I want, right? These are all the things. I got to see my Val Kilmer scene. I got to see him go in Mach 10. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of stuff that I was super in for. So yes and no, because it could so easily flip bad when you try to do these things. But there have been a couple that have been done recently, and a lot of people have tried it. There have been a couple that have been like, hey, these have been really fun. Revisiting these properties just to attack the nostalgia of people like me.
Weaponized nostalgia is a thing. And legacy sequels are tough to pull off because you have to really thread the needle. And it's funny you mention Top Gun Maverick because the director of that, Joseph Kosinski, also did another legacy sequel in Tron Legacy. That was his film, and that was a similar thing. It was 20-something years later, revisiting a property. That one was more of the cult classic doing that thing, but it's such a hard needle to thread because it can go really well.
Oh yeah,
or it can be an absolute disaster.
The other big example would be Happy Gilmore 2. Like that movie didn't need to be made, but they hit so many beats that were just fun for me that I'm glad they did this. You know,
it's that thing of like, we don't need it.
Yeah.
And how do you do the nostalgia without it feeling like only fan service? Like, I feel like the Jay and Silent Bob reboot did a great job with that, in that it tried to bring a little something new.
It was definitely different.
Also,
yes, it was definitely different.
Like, the thing with that one was it was the creator of it also making the legacy sequel. So it's Kevin Smith, and you're seeing the evolution of Kevin Smith.
Right.
As opposed to just the characters. Like Top Gun Maverick is bringing back the characters that we knew before.
Right.
But it's a whole different creative team behind it. Alex, where do you fall on the Devil Wears Prada 2?
I am also torn, and I think it comes in part from like, I almost lean negative first. I would say like I'm more on the side of like, I don't know. It's no secret, or maybe it is, that I love Jurassic Park quite a bit. So like, I feel like I'm burned by sequels quite often. But okay, also like seeing the previews, just that too, it does seem to err on the side of like, it's bringing everybody back in a goofier way. And I know like previews don't always match the tone or what's happening, but it, you know, it's like Miranda walks in and immediately like the little clip is her seeing Andy and going in, "Who are you?" And I'm like, well, that doesn't feel in line with how this all played out. But then again, maybe they're throwing me for a loop. And that's what I'm holding on to hope with, right? Like, I didn't go into The Devil Wears Prada thinking I would like the movie, and I did. So maybe they're going to throw me for that exact same loop with the sequel, and I'll see it and I'll be like, dang, they really did a great job bringing this back.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel, because because everyone is back, right? You don't have one person coming back. Like, it's not just Meryl Streep or just an example for me, and it wasn't necessarily a legacy sequel, but like Evan Almighty as a film. Taking a side character from Bruce Almighty and spinning that out into its own sequel felt like we're going to ride on the coattails of what was a fairly popular Jim Carrey vehicle, but with a different actor. And that's no knock on Steve Carell, because I think he is very funny, but like that felt like we're just going to ride on those coattails. And that's easy to do with something that has an established fan base. It's why like a remake of a cult classic, those are hard to do. Like, I just talked earlier today on another podcast as a guest about The Warriors. And there's been talk of doing like a new version of The Warriors or a series or something like that. And I actually saw interviews with the original cast, and they were asking them about it. And a couple of them were like, I mean, we already did that. Or good luck, go for it. We made something. It's sort of like one of my favorite John Carpenter films is Big Trouble in Little China. I love that movie. They've talked about making a new version of that so many times, and I don't know how you do that. It's so difficult to do. Go ahead.
That's a tough one too, because I just talked earlier before we got on this call about RRR and how I didn't like to use the word perfect, and then you mentioned Big Trouble in Little China, and now I have to say it again, but they did talk about Wyatt Russell being in it, and so I was kind of like, I do kind of want to see that happen.
Yeah, but there again, that also feels like you're getting too close to what they already did, and so why?
Maybe.
Like, and another good example, and one that it's something very near and dear to my heart, is there's a remake of Highlander coming soon with Henry Cavill, and this has been a movie talked about for the last 20-something years. There's been many iterations of it, but it's finally filming. And I was always excited, but reluctantly excited But what it seems like they're doing with this is they've understood that they can't just remake the first movie. They have to go their own way. And there was a great interview. Somebody was talking to Christopher Lambert about it. I think this interview was 10 years ago or something. And they asked him, like, well, what do you think of them making a Highlander reboot? And they were talking about it at the time. And he's like, hey, more power to them. We made a great movie. His thought was, how do they make it their own movie?
Yeah.
If you're going to remake that, you have to make it your own. He's like, one of the things is, who is the queen of that movie? Because they had Queen doing the soundtrack of the original Highlander. How do you recapture that? How do you tell that story in a modern era? The cool thing about Highlander is that they can update it and do some new things with the story behind it, and the people behind it are fans, which is what gives me hope, because they want to make actually something good. They're not just playing on the nostalgia of, hey, we can do a Highlander movie too. They're like, it's taken so long to get to, but I'm still a little reserved on it. I'm hopeful because I do think that the people behind it like what they're doing. It's Chad Stahelski of John Wick and those movies. So you know the action's going to be good. And it's Henry Cavill and Dave Bautista and Russell Crowe. Like it's got a pretty incredible cast, but it's going to be tough to do it well.
Yeah.
Without it just being fan service. So
I'll tell you
that. And I think that's what you get with something like The Devil Wears Prada.
I think that you talk about that when the people that are making the final product are invested in the product it shows through. And I think that's probably the biggest difference maker. Is that how good do they want to?
It just feels foolish to make a sequel to a movie where literally the most famous line is there can be only one.
Look, the Highlander sequels and things, that's a whole other conversation we can have at some point, and I have had many, many times. Maybe we'll talk about that after the episode. But Jenna brings up a good point in that Devil Wears Prada 2, which I keep hearing, and I don't remember who it is that said it recently, but like, why is it not called The Devil Still Wears Prada? It's right there. You had this in front of you, and you made it The Devil Wears Prada 2. One of the few times where just throwing a 2 at the end is not the way to do a sequel title. It's kind of like
Devil to Prada.
You got
right.
to it before I could take it.
Was it Ready or Not? And they called it Ready or Not 2 and not Ready or Not. Or no, they did call it Ready or Not Here I Come, I think. Thankfully. I don't know. Either
That's
way,
one of the ones I have to watch because that first movie was great.
I still have to see the first movie.
Oh, it was good. I can tell you one thing real quick about this movie. A lot of my favorite movies, and I would talk about like Back to the Future, like Tremors, they have this just natural watchability to them. Like, whereas if I'm flipping through channels and Back to the Future is on, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm watching Back to the Future. I'm flipping and it's Tremors. I think this movie has that same level of watchability to it. And yes. I don't know how to quantify that or really describe it, but it has it. So now I'm like moderately invested in this sequel. And it's all Alex's fault. Like a week ago, I didn't care about this sequel. Now I've watched it and I'm like, honestly, I have to go and I have to see if it's good.
Tim, I thought the exact, like when I was rewatching it, and especially because I'm like, I've seen it before. A lot of the time when I'm rewatching something, I'm like, I don't need 100% attention. My phone was down the whole time. Like I was invested in watching it. And yeah, we should go see the sequel now.
It's one of those things, like Jenna brings up, what if, they talk about like the decline of print media because this is all focused around a magazine. I think that probably could be part of it. And also, it's brought up in the chat. Idstar says, a reboot or a sequel that undoes the ending of your previous movie in order to go back to the status quo. And I really hope they don't do that. I hope they don't do something along those lines. I'm curious as to why Miranda and Andy are interacting again.
We
and
could
what is
have
the source of that? So
weeks-long conversations about media where this has happened, and I don't appreciate it.
So I am much more looking forward to The Devil Wears Prada 2 than I would have been a week ago. Even knowing, like, I knew this was coming in terms of watching this, I'm much more interested in what this movie could be, because what The Devil Wears Prada does, and I harp on this, and if you're playing the drinking game at home, take a shot, because I'm going to mention the plot of this movie is very straightforward and very simple, and they make the characters complex. And that, I think, to your point, Tim, is why this has that watchability. Back to the Future is a very simple story that is told with interesting characters inside of it. So at any point you catch that story, you can latch in and just watch. And I think that's what this movie does.
It does. It really does. And the what we talked about earlier about them telling why fashion is important to them, to me, person who fashion is not important to, and I'm buying what they're selling. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe that it is important to these characters. It's just very well done.
Yep. And when you have, 4 characters that you really care about, and you care about what happens to them at the end of the movie. Like at the start of the movie, I didn't like Emily. By the time the end of the movie comes around, I like Emily. I understand her more because we spent time with her. No, I don't care about Christian or Nate, but they're underdeveloped and probably on purpose. But I care what happens to Emily and Nigel and Andy and Miranda. And I wouldn't have thought that a week ago. I wouldn't have known who those people were.
That grilled cheese looked terrible, by the way.
It did kind of look. It was way overcooked.
He's like, it has Jarlsberg. Nobody cares, Nate. Nobody cares
you
about
just
your
bought
grilled
an
cheese.
expensive cheese that's not good for a grilled cheese. It doesn't melt well.
Yeah.
And he canonically shops at a place where strawberries are $8 a strawberry. So, like, how much cheese actually is that? Like,
not much. If it's strawberries, $8.
Yeah, he's like, don't throw that away. I'll eat it. And I'm like, you've destroyed it. You've destroyed that grilled cheese.
$6. That $8 strawberry is $45 today. Just let that sink in a little bit. And quit burning your grilled cheese, Nate.
Yeah.
How are you? How did you get a job as a sous chef?
Yeah.
How do you screw that up? It is a grilled cheese. You put cheese on bread. You put butter and or mayonnaise on the bread. You throw it in a pan and you cook it to golden brown and delicious. Work in a damn kitchen. I did like him saying, like, I make port wine reductions all day. It's not exactly the... I liked that. That was pretty good. But no, I'm very curious to see the sequel for this movie now.
can I tell you both how you guys are such big movie people, obviously, and I have seen canonically 10 movies about. So, like, I am so delighted that you guys genuinely like this movie because I have trash taste and I know that. So, like, this is peak scenario for me.
What I love about doing this show are these moments here exactly, which is somebody seeing something and it being genuinely like either inspiring or in some way you don't expect it, right? I had this with Amelie when I watched that, when Amy Frost was on the show and she had me watch that movie, a movie that in 2001 you couldn't have paid me to go see. Like, I had zero interest in seeing Amelie. And I watched it and I was like, this was a delight and I want to watch it again right now. And, you know, so many of those things or having something that means something to you and then showing it to someone else and they like that thing is such a wonderful feeling. And it's why I enjoyed doing this show and also to discover these things that I've heard about. I've heard about The Ddevil Wears Prada for 20 years and how amazing it is. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's a dumb rom-com horse shit. No, it's really good. It's really well written. And it deserves the status that it has. I understand why it was so popular. No, 2006 Travis wouldn't have appreciated that at all. But now I do, even if I still don't know jack about fashion. I am not in the high fashion world. I can tell you that much.
I fell down quite a rabbit hole after watching this movie about the person who wrote the book. And,
oh yeah.
And I think we're gonna end up with some Horse Girls Patreon content out of it because that rabbit hole went places Excellent. That I didn't think we could get to. So,
well, now I'm going to be curious to hear that at some point. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Horse Girls, you two do a show called the Horse Girls Podcast. Tell us about that. Remind us. Either one.
Go, Tim.
No. Okay. Yeah, we do Horse Girls, and Alex and Jenna are teaching me how to be a proper horse girl. Nope, do that again. Alex and Jenna are trying to teach me how to be a proper horse girl.
No, it's working. It's working.
I was going to ask how the indoctrination was going. So
they're working really
He's
hard.
ridden a horse a couple times now, and he did the other day. Someone posted, because we had taught them about foals that were born completely white with blue eyes, and he did have the immediate, appropriate, horrified reaction to it. So like, I feel like it's going really well.
Oh, good. It's always great when the brainwashing takes hold.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The other stuff we do, and we do a ton of fun stuff. Just everybody should go to airtimefornonsense.com. That's where they can find
everybody should
the
go to
hub
Airtime
of
for
everything.
Because there's the Horse Girls, Animorphs Anonymous is part of that.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Dungeons and
Airtime
Dracon
for
Beams?
Nonsense. What's that?
Dungeons and Dracon Beams.
That's right. That's the other one.
Is this the quiz section for Travis? Are you going to like torture him with a quiz of all the shows that we do?
No, because
I got nothing.
he knew that guy was from the 8 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. No, you've already peaked beyond us, and we just have to look up at your star.
All I'm saying is that if you're going to come at me with like an actor, you better come correct, because I probably have seen them in something obscure, and for whatever reason it's logged back there, and I can. It's the recall of it that frightens me. It's not that I knew him from Ghostbusters. It's that the scene wasn't finished yet, and I realized it was him from Ghostbusters.
I have seen Ghostbusters no less than 100 times in my life. Like I could quote most of that movie. Never once did I realize that was the same guy.
This is henceforth it's TMDB, Travis Movie Database, and this is the only place I'm going for information.
You know what? I'm fine with that. I will accept that. And if you like hearing me rant about random shit from movies that somehow I seem to remember, I do it every week. I do this show weekly, live streamed on Sunday nights, twitch.tv/TV's Travis. To see the live stream, comes out as a podcast every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And if you want to get it a few days early, you can. If you're a patron of the show at patreon.com/WIHS, you can get the show on a Sunday right after recording. So there is that. There's also my First Watch Diaries, where I'm watching things for the first time and just recording little short episodes about that. There are more of those coming. I might do a quick one. I finished up Andor. Season 2 finally, and I have some thoughts on that.
I haven't started season 1 yet.
What I will say is,
one that's hanging over my head.
I sat and I finished 5 episodes of season 2 to finish out the season, and immediately watched Rogue One after that.
Yeah.
So that might tell you a little something about what I thought of it.
I've heard high praise. High praise.
Next week, I have a returning friend of the show, Phil Keating, coming back, because the hockey playoffs are about to begin in the NHL.
Oh.
And Phil somehow found out that I have never seen Slapshot.
The Warriors and Slapshot, Travis. I would have bet $500 on both of those that you would see.
We all have our blind spots, and apparently I have a number of them. But Phil has decided that we're fixing that, so he's coming back. We're going to talk about Slapshot next week, which is going to be a ton of fun. And
it's fantastic.
After that,
you have to like really talk a lot of shit to him about it, please. For me, he got me in the playoffs. Obviously, U.S. Canada. We all know how that turned out. You just give him as much hell as you can for me.
Of course,
he's a Phillies.
Thank you.
He's a Philly fan, so do whatever you want to him.
Yeah, Philly's already done enough to him. So yeah, that's what's coming up next. Now I got some more fun episodes, and also I will be doing the show live from Nerdtacular in June in Salt Lake City. So if you happen to be able to make it to Nerdtacular in June, I believe it is the 12th that we'll be doing the show. I'm going to be talking to my friend Joe Hood about his first time seeing Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy.
Oh, awesome.
Which will be exciting. I love that movie, so I can't wait to talk to him about that. And you can see me live, and then I'll also be live at DragonCon later this year. And patrons are what help me to do those live shows. So if you can support the show via Patreon, I greatly appreciate it. If all you can do is listen to the show, I appreciate that more than I can put into words. So come back next time for Slapshot. I'm actually looking forward to it because this is a movie I've heard about a lot and I just never saw it. I don't know why. So.
It's fun. It's
also
fun
I get to razz on Phil.
Yes.
And he'll razz on me, I'm sure. Because the Red Wings failed to make the playoffs for like the 10th straight year.
Yeah.
I'll give you, once we're off the live call, I'll give you some insider information to really get Phil with.
Perfect. But until then, check out Slapshot next week. Go to Airtime for Nonsense and find all the things that Tim and Alex and Jenna and all the folks over there are doing. And until next time, remember to enjoy your movies. And it's springtime, which means be excellent to each other. This has been Meryl.
You know what they say? Tiny man, huge ego.
Huge ego.